Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to welcome our newest coach, Gaya, to our team. Gaya, her full name is Gaytrri is a OFNC certified fitness and nutrition coach. She's a mom of two, and I'm really excited for her to join our team, support our clients. She's extremely knowledgeable, really knows her stuff. We've been following each other online for years and years and years, and I've gotten to see Gaya go from somebody who's just a fitness enthusiast to somebody who's posting about your own journey and inspiring others to now actually getting certified and starting to coach clients. So that's been really incredible. And I'm so excited for people to get to know you.
Hey Dee, thank you. Thank you for that beautiful intro. You really do really good intros, by the way. So like Dee said, my name is Gaya Musraka. It's Gaya short for Gaytrri. I have two little girls, 8 and 4. I live in Long Island, New York with my husband, and I've been in the US since 2006, so about 14, 15 years. I used to work in the city. Now I work in healthcare IT. I really started off my journey as, I've always been active. I've loved to be active. And when the pandemic hit, I started working out from home. One thing led to the other. I've gotten certification, and now I'm coaching people, which I find really gratifying.
Yeah, I bet. Coaching is so gratifying. So yeah, Gaya will be joining us as a part-time coach for now. And just working in IT, I'm sure you can definitely relate to that struggle that a lot of people have of balancing a full-time job with a family and your own wellness goals.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it is a hard balance, but some days you just make it a priority. And frankly, I'll be frank, in the beginning of the pandemic, even though I said I started working out, it was a struggle. It started off with a small change. Like I would just start my day in a workout clothes, and at some point during the day I would say, okay, let me get the workout in. And slowly it became a routine, and that routine made it so that I started off at 7 in the evening, which moved to 3 in the afternoon, then early in the morning before my meetings, and next thing you know, I'm like waking up at 5, finishing my workouts before the children go to school.
Yeah, one step at a time.
Becoming this efficient person, and it's really is like building upon small habits. And I never thought of it that way until I really like reflected back to see, well, how did I get here? And yeah, it's been a journey. It's been awesome.
Yeah, so tell us more about that. How did you get started in your own fitness journey?
So way back, I think the first ever time I stepped into the gym was probably when I started working. So just for context, I'm over 40, but when I started working, I was like 23, and obviously it's like the freshman 15, right? You start a new job, you're sitting at your desk and you gain some weight because all you do is eat whatever, rice and dal at night, because that's the simplest thing you can cook. I gained some weight. So I was like, so my roommate and I was like, hey, let's go to the gym. So we would wake up in the morning, 6 o'clock, the office building had a gym, we would go there. And it was a good routine. I did that, and that kind of like kicked things off. Then when I moved to the US, I didn't have access to the gym. I was living with my parents. So I used to just go for runs, cardio. It's the simplest thing to do. And then when I started working, I joined the gym, but it was again cardio. I wasn't really into strength training. I just didn't know. It wasn't that it scared me. It's like, I didn't know how to do anything. So I just didn't do it. It was cardio. And then I actually went into martial arts. I joined a taekwondo studio. It was awesome. It was like, I am into martial art. I love it. And it was one of those things that if you stick to something and you like it, you will stick to it.
Which martial art did you do?
It was taekwondo. It was like
7,
8 months. I did it for about 8 months. At that time I was in Jersey. Then I moved out of there. I moved to Brooklyn, and there was nothing there except long sidewalks where I could go for walks. Yes. So I kept myself active there. I tried to join a gym, but it was never consistent. It was just there. And again, none of this was strength training. Fast forward, I move in with my husband. We're in Long Island, and LA Fitness, which used to be which is now UFC, I think. So they were close by, and I told my husband, I said, you know what, I want to go try, because I like martial arts. I feel like it's exciting for me. I went there, and I still till date remember the first trainer I tried with. She told me like 3 years after that, she's like, Guy, I never expected you to stick. Wow. I thought he was there for a trial. I didn't know whether I should be offended. Yeah. or it was a compliment, but we are still friends. And she said, I'm so proud of you for sticking, because I could barely do a push-up, let alone kick or do squats or anything. And it was boxing, but it was mixed with some body weight moves, which I enjoyed. So that I stuck to for years and years. After my first kid, I went back to that. Again, it brought me back in shape. So it was my jam. Once or twice a week, I would do like a boot camp style. And I really never thought about like strength training in a very structured way. But I felt fine. I felt good. I had a lot of energy. Fast forward, I have my second kid and I'm like, it was fine the first time around. Second time it's going to be just like that. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was totally different. The gym which I used to go to had closed down. This was even before my pregnancy. I did not have an active pregnancy for gazillion reasons. I was always tired. I couldn't even walk. I was just exhausted all the time. And it was just hard. It was so hard just trying to get into a routine to find a gym. And I'm not the kind to go to a generic gym and do a workout. And frankly, at that time, there wasn't anything for postpartum women. This was 4 years ago. And I would search for like exercise stuff. So I started off with the Sweat app and I said, okay, let me try it. I did it 6 months of it. No, 6 months, maybe 12 weeks of it. Hated it. Hated it. Whichever program I'm like, it made nothing. I just didn't feel like it did anything to my body. And it was strength-based. And again, when you don't understand why you're doing something, you're just doing for the sake of it. You don't engage the right muscles and stuff, nothing happens. I quit that and I moved on to another app. And this was because I was home and I wanted to work out from home. I didn't want to go to a gym. I had weights at home. And then I switched to that. I did 6 months of that again. It was okay. And this is like, now it's almost like 2.5 years into postpartum journey. Like I've still not lost like, I don't know, 15 or 20 pounds at that time from where I wanted to be. And then I ended up opening a fitness account, Instagram fitness account, and it was for accountability. And I switched to another program, again in the Sweat app, because somehow I liked some of the trainers. And this one I enjoyed. I enjoyed so much. It was HIIT, cardio, a little strength based. I stuck to it for almost 8 months actually. Because I just loved it. And the fact that you have accountability from Instagram, people are cheering you on, you cheer each other on. It's like a high fives, right? So that transformed into a different style of training where I went into Olympic style lifting, which is also a little high impact, which is kind of like a mix between CrossFit and Olympic style. That again, I've stuck to for 8 months. Now I finally transitioned into a more structured, more like a hypertrophy based program. So because I just feel I'm getting old for all of the big high impact moves. It's not just that I feel it, my bones feel it. And I'm like, okay, I need to make it a little easy. It's been a long journey. I've always been active, like since in my adults. And I was one of those kids who never had to like worry about gaining weight. I was like always one of the skinny. I didn't eat. I was terrible at eating. It wasn't because I had any kind of disorder. It was just that I was such a picky eater. I was like a 8-year-old in an 18-year-old's body. I don't like vegetables. I don't like this. So if you don't eat, what happens? You don't gain weight. But yeah, so it's been tough for me, the postpartum journey, because I still haven't like lost the weight per se, but I know my body has changed so much in the last 2 years. And that's consistency. Like it's about working out and consistency, going through nutrition, like learning about nutrition and learning about it. At some point, it's like less about losing the weight and more about how you feel.
Definitely. So that's interesting. So you started off, you were kind of active. You fell into the world of Taekwondo and then kind of did some HIIT training and then did Olympic lifting. And now you're kind of doing just more structured.
Yeah, it's like a long story in like 3 lines. Yes.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you enjoy helping your clients with as a coach?
So far, like a lot of my clients are people who are like me, right? So we're all working out kind of similar programs. We are doing it and we're like, oh, why is my body not changing? Because Instagram is full of people which has like a lot of changes. It's easy. The algorithm favors big transformations and transformation pictures and stuff like that. So it's a little intimidating at first. You're thinking, why is it? What am I doing wrong? So it's more about getting the right nutrition. And most of us, and a lot of these, my clients have been South Asian. It's just that we don't get enough protein and we are afraid of carb and we are afraid of fat. And we don't realize how much fat is there in regular cooking food. Like if you're eating fried fish, they're like, oh, it was just fish, but I'm like, it was cooked in oil. So it's all of those little nuances to it. Like one of my clients, I just spoke to her this morning and she said, I've made, in the beginning, she wasn't sure whether it would work. And today she told me, she said, even my husband says there's such a big change in me. I said, that's like the best compliment. And then I have the opposite spectrum where I have a friend who's also a client and who didn't even want to move. So we started off with simple changes. Like I said, like I started off with simple changes, like just putting my workout clothes on and just being. It helps. It helps like get you into the mindset of the kind of person you want to become. It doesn't. Yeah. So it's not that you can't. It's not always 0 to 100. It doesn't work like that for everyone. So some struggle with even moving, even like doing simple squats or push-ups. It's not about the form. It's just that they don't want to do it. It's stressful for them. And others struggle only with the nutrition part. So it's just about knowing what each person wants. And then there's another person who came to me saying that she's doing the right workouts and everything, but she's always hungry. In this case, we had to like increase the food amount. And that's one of my biggest takeaways. Like I've noticed with every single woman I work, they always think they need to eat less. And it's not. It's like you think you're eating a lot, but you're not.
Yeah, a lot of people just need to eat a lot more than they're eating right now, because a lot of times people will undereat and then get really hungry and then binge and overeat.
Yes, yeah, it's like the hunger is catching up. So you can stick to it. Like when you go to extremes, you can stick to it for two days, 3 days, and then eventually your body will catch up to it, and unconsciously you end up eating like from 900 calories to like 1900 calories the next day. And you might not do it natural, like knowingly, but it does happen. Just getting yourself consistent helps.
Definitely. Cool. So I think you touched a bit on this, but what's one thing you wish all your clients knew when trying to lose weight?
Be consistent with your food intake.
Okay.
That's something that I have realized, and every day it's the same thing. The people who see the results are people who are consistent.
Yeah.
And what does consistency mean? Doesn't mean that you're doing the same thing over and over again. It just means you're doing as close to the same thing over and over again. You're trying to not go from one end to other end of extreme, right? You're trying to just stick to the plan, deviate it from a little, but come back to the plan. Even if you like kind of slip away, just course correct yourself. And it doesn't have to be strict. And that's the thing. That's the key. As soon as it gets strict, nobody wants to follow it.
Totally. So kind of building on that, what's one thing you feel most people get wrong about health and fitness?
That you have to do hundreds of hours of cardio to lose weight.
Okay.
I think I was one of those people too. I'm not saying that I've completely changed my mind, but yes, losing weight you can do with cardio helps. But if you want, and most women actually want fat loss and not weight loss per se. And if it's fat loss you're looking for, then it's a little more nuanced. Focus on your protein. Focus on simple things: calories, protein, and start from there.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so how do you motivate yourself to work out when you don't feel like it? Speaking of consistency, right? You're somebody who's so consistent. I see your IG stories every day. How do you motivate yourself to work out when you don't feel like it?
I should say I'm fortunate that I have a gym downstairs in my basement. So all I have to do is wake up and go down to the basement, and it's my sanctuary. So I love being there. Okay. But it wasn't always like in the beginning, it wasn't like that. It's also my workspace. I think what definitely helped was small changes that I had said before, like setting up a routine and setting up a habit of doing it. Some days I had to force myself. There were times when I started working out when I was like, oh my God, I was supposed to work out. I forgot. So I'm making dinner. And now what do I do? So I would open up the app. I literally would pick a program which is like 20 minutes. And while the dinner was cooking, I would do it on the floor. So it was body weight. I did that. And it's almost like forcing a habit. To make it a routine. So as you keep doing it, you keep showing up. It doesn't matter you give all your effort or half your effort or quarter of your effort, but you gave it your
that's so creative.
Just show up. Every day as you show up, you become the person who does that. So, and I tell my clients too all the time, though, especially the ones who don't work out. I'm like, no, see, you just have to take like a 2-minute action, atomic habits, right? 2-minute action. So you start becoming the person you think you want to be. So you're imagining, like you said, the fit check, like, what would you do? I would go for walks. If I can't do anything else, I would probably walk. When every time I see an ad on TV, I would walk and go and get a cup of water to add to my steps. Then you start thinking of creative ways to do it, and you become that person who always wants to move. Yoga, yeah.
Like all behavior change, it really has to start with changing your identity, right? You have to see, like you said, see yourself as the fit person.
Yeah. And there's like, I think there's studies also which show that what you believe in actually happens. And look at this, look at me. Like, and one thing I would say, and this is a little maybe woo out there, and I'm sorry about that. Hold on a second.
That's okay. That's okay.
If you don't chase the progress, enjoy the process.
Yeah.
And that helps. If you're trying to become somebody, don't try to always think of the person you want to be, but think of the person who's doing things. What would that person do? Like, take the actions, right? Don't just keep chasing the end goal.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Like, instead of kind of like, I get what you're saying. Like, instead of fixating on like, oh, I'm not that person, I want to be that person. Like, focus on already feeling like you are that person and thinking like, okay, if I am that person that is fit,
what would I do? Yeah.
What would I be doing right now? Right. I'd probably not be scrolling my phone and be going to the gym.
Exactly. Like,
actually, I'm a fit person and I scroll my phone and go to instead of going to the gym all the time. So
no, I do it too. So here's the funny thing, right? I was doing that.
Force ourselves to go do it, right?
Yeah.
We talk about in our program in the mindset module too, right? Like, if you have grown up being like overweight your whole life, we have a lot of women who kind of just see themselves as like, oh, I'm the fat girl, I'm the fat woman, right? And if that's your identity, you're going to take actions that are consistent with your identity.
Yeah, you don't want to change. Change is hard. Change is good, but it's hard sometimes.
Yeah. Especially if it's an identity change, right? It's like a threat to your existence. So that's why a lot of people relapse after losing weight, because they just don't see themselves as a fit and healthy person. They still see themselves as somebody overweight and not feeling good in their bodies. And so they kind of self-sabotage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, great. So let's move on to the next couple questions. What's your favorite healthy meal to cook?
If it's breakfast, it's usually eggs.
Okay.
I like it. Egg with toast and some potatoes. If it's lunch, it's any type of Indian food that my mom cooks. Not anything from the restaurant, but more of what my mom cooks, because she doesn't use a lot of oil.
Yeah. Do you guys have a restaurant, or what do you mean from the restaurant?
Yeah, I mean, we are close to a place called Hicksville, so there's a ton of places we can go there, but we rarely order Indian food from outside. Usually it's like pizza. So if it's a guilty pleasure, then it would be like pizza, because my kids like it, and this place makes this awesome buffalo chicken pizza.
Yum. That's actually what I was going to ask you next. What's your favorite indulgent food?
Yeah, it's probably pizza, and this buffalo chicken pizza, which is like. This is all out, right? There's not a lot of cheese on it, but there's like fried chicken cutlets. Think of chicken parmesan without the parmesan. They cut it, they put it on the pizza, and then buffalo sauce on top of it. And then once it comes out, they throw some ranch on top of it. I know it sounds like a fat mom, but then it's awesome. And even the kids kind of enjoy the chicken pieces, like little bit of meat.
I love that.
We do it once a week. We were doing it regularly, but recently I've like cut down on the buffalo, because you kind of get bored after years and years of eating it.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. You're making me like want to eat some pizza for dinner. Cool. So yeah, that was the next question. What's your favorite indulgent food? Any other indulgences you love?
That's mostly it. But if you were like, if you asked me to pick what kind of is my weakness, it's probably Indian snacks like laddus and the chakli or murku, whichever way you call it. It's like, oh, it's this sweet. Let me have something namkeen on it. Yeah. Oh, but now it's too namkeen. Let me have. When my mom goes to the Indian temple here, we bring back stuff, and I'm like, or the mixtures, right? So now I've started mixing it with Greek yogurt. I'm like, oh God.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that would be kind of an indulgent, so to speak. Definitely. Yeah, it's simple things. I'm like, I've realized after all this while that I just enjoy food.
Yeah, we definitely need like a high protein version of a namkeen or something.
I know, right?
What's a fun fact most people don't know about you?
Well, a lot of people know about this, but I did a little boxing match. I was actually in an I'm an amateur boxer. I have a boxing book.
Okay.
And I did one fight. It was a fight. It's a charity fight, which was basically we raised money for charity. It was in the local newspaper and everything. So I got my 15 minutes of fame, or maybe it was 5 minutes of fame. But yeah,
Nice.
so I still do boxing once a week. I go and train with the coach. Yeah.
Do you still do like Taekwondo?
No, that was like a studio in Jersey, and I moved away from it. At some point, I tried places close by, but nothing like, you have to have the right vibe.
Yeah.
And frankly, once I moved to boxing and I did the fight, I can't go back. It's like, I just love this sport so much. It just works well with my body. And there's so much to learn. You'll keep learning each time I go and train with my coach. He corrects me this, corrects that. I'm like, I said, it's been years. Why am I still doing this wrong? But it's fun.
Awesome. Cool. What other languages do you speak?
Well, I speak Tamil and I speak Hindi and English.
Okay, and where in India are you from?
We're from Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
Both my parents are Tamilians, but my mom was Chennai and my dad is more south. He's like a town called Namakkal, close to Salem. Yeah.
My mom is Tamil too.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
It would have to be my husband not making the bed after we wake up.
Oh my gosh, same. Ugh, I don't know why.
Just pull it. All it takes is 2 seconds.
Right? Takes 2 seconds and it just looks so much better, feels so much better mentally. Like,
yeah, like I'm not a big fluffy pillows and all of that. I just need the sheets to be pulled in. Yeah. But maybe that's because my dad was in the military, so we were brought up to like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it could be that.
When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
You know what? I had no idea what I wanted to be at that time. I was very much, maybe, okay, let me correct that. At some point, like I used to train classical music, Carnatic music. And I was like, I said, it would be fun to be a backup singer. My mom's like, you'll never make any money out of it. Typical Indian mom, but probably that. But other than that, I had like no big goals or aims. And it sounds bad to say that, but probably, yeah, a singer is what I thought I could be at some point.
Do you still sing?
Only to my kids, lullabies.
Favorite brand of workout clothes?
I don't have one. I was like very much into Sweaty Betty for a bit, but only during their sales because they're very expensive. But I actually, Old Navy.
Yeah.
Like it's not expensive, and frankly, they last for years. They have, at least for me.
I think the manufacturer, so Old Navy, Gap, and Banana Republic and Athleta are all owned by the same company, right? So you go to Old Navy and the products are like basically the same that you get in Athleta, just at a much lower price point, right? But like the styles and everything, even the material feels.
Yeah, I'll tell you a fun fact. I used to, when I did my college and when we lived when I was a teenager, there was a town close by that's a big garment factory area. They used to make, there was a factory that made material and clothes for Gap. They actually made it for Gap without labels. So they would make it without labels and Gap would just put labels. So it's basically the same clothes that each brand labels different, which is kind of strange.
Wild, right? To think that like you're just paying for that label.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay, last question. Favorite drink, either alcoholic or non-alcoholic, other than water?
Tea. I drink a lot of tea. I don't drink coffee. So tea.
Nice. Cool. Well, anything else you want our prospective, audience members or our audience members to know about you, or anybody who's thinking about working with you?
Okay. So all I would say is, if you work with me, I will assure you that you will not starve yourself. You will enjoy the food you eat, and you will only do what you want to do when it comes to movement. I will never force you to do anything.
That's great. That's a great note to end on. Thank you so much, Gaya. I'm so excited to have you on the team.
Same here. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys, if you want to work with Coach Gaya, click the link below. If you're watching this on the website, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can click the link in the description box to apply to work with us. And then, if you want to work with Gaya specifically on the application, just go ahead and note if there's a question that asks your preferred coach. So go ahead and just note Gaya there. And we'll do our best to pair you with her based on availability. Awesome. All right. Bye, everyone.